Hi, I'm Annie Botticelli, and this is the Storyteller Forecast for Capricorn for December 2015. Go and check out my new blog at anniehelpsyou.com, where I will be writing about astrology and all kinds of other topics. So what's going on in this last month of the year in December for Capricorn? Let's first talk about the general transits that will be affecting everyone, and then we'll talk about some specific things for your sign. So this is holiday time. Along with holiday time comes holiday shopping. And we have the green light for holiday shopping. We've got this time free of Mercury retrograde transits, which is such a relief. For years in a row sometimes, we have sometimes the entire shopping season full of Mercury shadow, Mercury retrograde, Mercury post shadow, but that's not the case here. As long as you finish your shopping before December 20th, then you're not having to wrangle with Mercury retrograde shadow, which starts to get pretty intense quickly as of December 20th. So you late shoppers, you want to get on it this year so that you don't have the problems that can come along with buying things in Mercury retrograde, like the chance for damaged goods increasing, the chance for people not liking what you give them or you not finding the perfect thing, and all manner of other communication problems. Just avoid it altogether and get done early. Okay, so we've got a festive mood with the Sun and Mercury and the new moon in Sagittarius. Sagittarius is a super fun, festive, sparkly sign, and that's the energy of a lot of this month. And then the energy shifts into your more reserved energy of Capricorn. And what does that bring us? That brings some of your birthdays, and for the rest of you, it means your birthdays are coming soon. So let's switch over into some specific things for Capricorn while I'm thinking about it. Birthdays are a super exciting time when the universe is very receptive to your wishes. Each planet in the personal chart represents an aspect of life or experience, and the Sun represents desire or what you want. So when the Sun in the sky gets to the same point as it is in your chart, it makes a magical lineup, a portal, called a solar return, and the universe is exceptionally in a good mood for you, and it is ready to grant your wishes. So you get your birthday wishes. Birthday wishes are astrological. You get 10 birthday wishes, you say them out loud, you write them down, you feel them as if they're coming true. Most importantly, you feel them as if they're coming true. If you study any of the work of people who talk about manifesting, they all say the same thing. You have to feel as if what you want is here in order to activate creating it in the here and now. And your birthday is a really great time to practice that. So be thinking about your birthday wishes, even if it's not coming until January, because you've got this time. What do you want to do? And speaking of which, what happens the 4 weeks before your birthday is that the Sun moves into your 12th house. So you can calculate 4 weeks before your birthday and the Sun will be in your 12th house. And for those of you who are watching for your rising sign, the 4 weeks that before the Sun crosses over your degree of rising sign, that is the time in question for you. But in any case, that 4 weeks, the Sun is transiting the 12th house. When the Sun transits the 12th house, it brings a spotlight on your deep unconscious mind. That's what the Sun is in a chart as well, is this spotlight. When you have a spotlight on, it shows you the cracks and the peeling paint right in the room, or it shows you the thing you've been looking for that was lost. So it's very, very powerful placement, and it shows you a lot of what you don't want. I always think of Harry Potter when I think of the 12th house, because this is the house of fears, and this is the house of triumphing over your fears. So that pivotal moment when he really understands that the things that seem to be problems outside of him are really problems inside of him, that's the magic right there. And the magic is resolving it inside, and then the outside situations disappear because it's a universal law. They have to. So sometimes before your birthday, when the Sun is in this 12th house, or before the Sun crosses over your ascendant, you have more fears come up. You feel uncomfortable. And you may have attributed this discomfort or anxiety to the fact that you're getting another year older. We get reflective, we get nostalgic, we think a lot when it's birthday time. We think, what did we do in the last year? What are we going to do the next year? How old am I? Am I getting older? What's happening? So you might think that some of that discomfort is around this aging process. And maybe some of it is, but astrologically, it's because the sun is in your 12th house and it makes people anxious because it brings up things that you swept under the rug. Retrogrades are famous for this, but also aspects or transits in your 12th house are infamous for this. It's like you dust everything under the rug and then the sun gets there and it shows this spotlight under the rug and it's like, ah, there's all that stuff in there, you know? So why this is beautiful is because you have to sometimes really see what you don't want clearly in order to ask for what you do want. So it's so purposeful that the universe does this, that it sets you in a situation sometimes to have things that you don't want come up beforehand, so you can get really determined and say, hey, I don't want that anymore. I'm going to do something about it. And one thing you can do is make your birthday wish that starts to shift this or moves you on a path away from that experience. Okay, so we did delve a little bit into Capricorn stuff, but I do want to touch on some general transits before we get back to some other things that we need to focus on for Capricorns. So, like I said, we've got this festive energy and then it kind of gets internal as of the time when the sun moves into Capricorn on the 21st of December. Then it gets more internal, it gets more quiet, it gets more like it's sabbatical time. But before then, we have quite a few dates that are great for parties and gatherings. We've got December 1st and December 8th, which have beautiful aspects with Mercury and then the sun to Uranus, which have this energy of sizzling. It's like a hot, happy sizzle. You know, when it's in a nice aspect, it brings beautiful connections between people. Uranus rules the house of friendships and acquaintances and parties. And so it's just a fun time for connecting with people, December 1st and December 8th. Whenever I give you exact dates, there's dates around those dates that you'll feel the energy. So it's never just experienced on that day, like, 12 o'clock, today is December 1st, now we feel this energy. 12 o'clock, now it's the second, we don't feel it anymore. It's not like that. It's always like a gradual building and then a gradual waning from the energy. Always like a beach. I always liken this to a beach. So when you go to the beach or you're on your way to the beach, you start seeing beachy stores even before you get over the bridge to go to the barrier islands. You know, and that's what these transits are like. You start feeling them before you get there. And then when you come back from the beach, you still kind of have the sand and salt on you. You know, there's just a little time where you transition away from that. And that's what astrological transits are like. You know, they're not just whoop, a line of delineation. Okay, so December 17th, we have a beautiful aspect between Venus and Pluto. Venus rules love and relationships and money and financial things and harmony and aesthetics and artistic things. And it's in this beautiful aspect to Pluto. Now, this particular aspect is called a sextile, which is a 60-degree angle. Unlike the trine, which is the angle that December 1st and 8th have with Uranus, a trine just brings sweet things. You don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to really do anything with it. You're just kind of there and it's awesome. When you have a sextile, you've got to work a little bit to really get the goodness out of that transit. So you might have some action required to draw the energy out of that 60-degree angle. So then towards New Year's on December 29th, the sun in Capricorn has, again, this 60-degree angle to Neptune. So if you get an intuition about something, a hunch, and then you follow through with it, it could put you in the right place at the right time for a magical synchronicity. But you can see the action required. If you have this feeling and you don't follow through with it, you're not activating the 60-degree angle. So be looking out for your action requireds around that time. We do have a couple of challenging spots in the month. The first is December 10th, or the days around that, where Mars and Libra will be opposing Uranus and Aries. And whenever these guys get together, Mars and Uranus brings surprises when it's in a challenging angle. A lot of times they're not happy surprises. It brings jolts of energy, you know, along with Mars. And Mars is really active and it's assertive. But it can also rule aggression. So there could be an active, aggressive jolt to your physical body. And you have to watch out to protect, you know, protect your physical body, protect your head. Mars rules the head as well. So be careful with electric, be careful with the fire, be careful with anything that, it's more electric, but electric can turn into the fire, you know, things like that. Just be extra careful when you're working around those things and guard your physical body and when you're driving and things like that. So that's right before December 11th, which is the new moon in Sag. And the new moon in Sag is this beautiful, wonderful time that flows with this energy of Sagittarius that we've been talking about, this theme of festiveness. But when you have a challenging aspect around it, you've got a mixed bag, and there can be multiple manifestations, some positive, some challenging. But you can make the ones that are challenging positive. Just try to stay alert and aware. That's why I talk about the challenging transits, not to tell you to stay in a corner for those times or to make you afraid. It's so that you make the best decisions and you're aware. So like, I like to use the example, if there's a grandparent having their kids and grandkids with their dogs over, you don't put out the expensive china and the white bath mats at that time. That would be silly. You'd just be, maybe you did that once. All you have to do is do it once and you say, I'm never doing that again, right? That's how astrological transits are like. If you know that there's a weird aspect with Mars and you are more aggressive with anger at that time and it has a bad outcome, if you understand that that was because it was not a good time to do that because there was a bad aspect with Mars, and it can make egos flare, then you say, well, gosh, I'm not going to do that again. If you know beforehand, you can make those decisions and have a better quality of life, right? That's what it's all about. So the other time to look out for is December 25th, and this is around holiday time for many people. So we've got this tricky full moon at 3 degrees of Cancer, and just on its own, this full moon is bringing fullness, completion, sometimes drama to family stuff, home and family. You might be having people come to your house. Full moons don't only have to be dramatic in a bad way, they can be dramatic in a good way, where like a mom has all their kids in one house for, the rare time, or, it's emotional, it's powerful. We have that going on. Then we have that opposing Pluto, and we know when Pluto's involved, speak about egos, Mars is like the little version of Pluto. It's like the little stomping tantrum child compared to the energy of Pluto, which is like, big power struggles. So in the family dynamic, there's probably going to be a power struggle that comes up, but there's a trine to Neptune, and that makes the odds greater that you'll have a harmonious resolution. In astrology, we look at really like percentages, probabilities, or possibilities. And when you have a bunch of things moving that are layering in a certain way, it makes a probability, a possibility, a probability. So the probability of a power struggle is increased when you have this aspect to Pluto. But the probability that you'll have a harmonious solution is also increased. And at the same time, you have Mercury, which rules communication, trining, making this beautiful aspect to Jupiter, bringing in creative genius. So maybe while there's drama downstairs at your family house, you might be up in your old room, having all this creative genius pouring through you. That's a possibility. So you're stressed because that's happening downstairs, but you've got all this flowing through you. Mercury also rules communication, and Jupiter looks for solutions. It rules Sagittarius. So finding a solution to something that's been a long-standing problem is even more possible now. So maybe you have this dynamic with your parents or your brother or whatever. Maybe this is the holiday that you could come to a solution where you don't have that problem anymore. You agree to disagree, you get it out of your system, you approach it in a way that the other person hears you. And if you need some assistance with this, there's a great book called Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg, and he is amazing. He gets people in the same room who are literally killing each other's families, like situations that most people are not in. And he teaches this way of speaking so that other people can hear you and inviting them to express what they have to say to be heard as well. So maybe get that book beforehand if you know that there's some drama that could come up, and see if you could practice coming at it another way. The odds of the other person coming at it another way is not very high, but you can take an active role in your destiny and do something like this where you're like, okay, I'm going to try to do this. I'm going to be a spiritual ninja, right? I'm going to deflect, transmute this energy that has been a constant, and then you'll break through something within yourself and magical things will happen. So back to things specific for Capricorn. Strong energy in the 12th house for you early degree placements, and some of you middle degree placements. You've got the sun there, you've got Mercury there, you've got the new moon there. 12th house is this house of the unconscious. It's also the house of quiet time, internal time. I call it sabbatical or monk on the mountain time, where you're like in nature or you're in quiet. It's just very internal and it's very reflective. Not active and busy on the outside, but active and busy on the inside. And then you middle to late degree placements, you'll have that energy that I just spoke of, starting to brew, and it will get there, but depending on your placement, it will be staggered, and you'll still have this strong energy in the 11th house, which has to do with friends and social events and busy things and internet and groups and organizations and acquaintances and social media, so busy connecting with other people type of energy versus this connecting with self and communing with God type of energy. So some of you will feel both of those things, and some of you, like I said, it'll be staggered. It'll take a little longer for that quiet to come. There's a strong theme for you early placements in the 9th house. You've got Jupiter, North Node, Venus, and Mars. Actually, Venus will have moved to the 10th house, but still strong energy with those other placements in the 9th house for you early placements. And the rest of you pay attention because this is coming for you. The 9th house is this house that's ruled by Sagittarius, and Sag rules big, wide open possibilities. So it rules everything that's big. So things in long distance travel, teaching, learning, institutions of higher learning, religion, asking big questions, churches, because they're connected with religion, publishing, writing, communicating, speaking, things like that are all in the Sagittarius realm. International business, things involving different countries, different cultures, different languages. So lots of strong energy there, expansive energy there. Some of it's short term and some of it's long term. So if you work in any of those fields or you're trying to get into something involving that, the odds that that's happening for you are really expanded. For you, some of you middle and the rest of you late degree placements, this is coming. You still have this strong energy, Jupiter, North Node, Venus, Mars in your 8th house or in the 7th house, about, close. Either way, it's partnership, but very strong focus on the 8th house. And the 8th house has to do with cooperation and synergy, merging resources, being on the same side, basically being on the same side, So again, with the nonviolent communication, there seems to be this lots of layers for Capricorn here at this time. So if you feel like people are antagonistic to you, and you're supposed to be on the same side, this might be the time for you to get on the same side, and you might have to do something different with your approach towards the situation, because if you're saying your same old story and they're saying their same old story, you're not going to get anywhere. But if you leave that open way for something different, then the whole thing the matrix could just completely break down and something new could come from it. And this is the time for you to do that, where you're to really pair up with other people. Capricorns tend to be very independent, very ambitious, very singularly focused. But this is a time, a long-term theme and the short-term theme, where working with other people is going to bring you further than working on your own. So you can, in your quiet reflections, think of these things and be really raw and honest with yourself. So I hope you have wonderful birthdays for those of you who it's happening for in this month. And I'm excited for your birthdays for the rest of you that are coming. Go to my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and definitely check out my astrology blog and my blog about other topics. I'm a Sag, and so I have wide, diverse interests, and my blogging has always been very diverse. So I'm reintroducing that. I haven't been blogging in a while, so you can check out all my blogs and growing list of blogs on my website, anniehelpsyou.com, and I hope you have a wonderful month and a wonderful rest of the year. Bye!